I used to think I was the mature one in the relationship. The calm, rational, cool girl who didn't spiral over harmless things like jealousy or possessiveness. That was my badge of honor. I wasn't one of those girlfriends. Now I sleep alone. And even my own friends barely look me in the eye. I met Daniel when I was 24. He was the kind of man you say your heart's been waiting for, even if your mouth takes a while to admit it. He was thoughtful to a fault, remembered the tiniest details, like how I only drank my coffee if it had cinnamon, and he never raised his voice, even when he was clearly hurting. He was steady. Quiet. Real. The kind of man who didn't sweep you off your feet, but made you feel safe standing still. Then there was Liam. Liam had been my best friend since college. We met during freshman orientation, bonded over bad cafeteria pizza, and never really grew out of our playful banter. He was everything Daniel wasn't: loud, charismatic, flirty. He'd text me at midnight about dumb memes. Call me wifey as a joke. Wrap his arm around me in group photos and say, "She's mine for life." But to me, it was harmless. Daniel never liked Liam. He never said it outright, but I saw it in the way his jaw tensed when Liam walked into a room. The way his eyes followed us when we laughed too long at a joke no one else got. He tolerated him. For me. And every time he tried to talk about it, I shut it down. "You're being insecure. He's just a friend. You should trust me." I thought I was teaching Daniel how to be emotionally evolved. But in reality, I was teaching him how to feel small in his own relationship. Looking back now, I don't even know when the shift happened. When I stopped being Daniel's partner and started treating him like a jealous outsider in my emotional affair with Liam. Because that's what it was, wasn't it? An affair. Just without the sex. I told Daniel he was just being controlling. That real love means trust. But I had no idea what I was actually doing to him. And I learned too late that emotional cheating isn't just in your actions, it's in your denial. I still remember the first time Daniel brought it up. We were a few months into dating. He had just met Liam properly at a mutual friend's birthday. We were all sitting around a bonfire, and Liam, as usual, was draped over me like a weighted blanket, his head on my shoulder, laughing too loud, playfully tossing popcorn into my mouth. On the drive home, Daniel was quiet. Too quiet. Then, finally, "Does he always touch you like that?" I scoffed. "Liam. He hugs everyone. He's like a golden retriever." "You're reading into it." Daniel nodded. Didn't push. But something in him shifted. At first, it didn't matter. Daniel was the boyfriend who planned weekend cabin trips, cooked for me on bad days, and texted "home safe" before I even thought to check my phone. Liam was the friend who knew every meme before it hit Instagram, could make me cry laugh in public, and called me "baby girl" just to annoy me. They both gave me something different. Daniel gave me security. Liam gave me chaos I didn't know I craved. The tension started subtle. Daniel stopped coming to group events where Liam would be. He wouldn't say much when I showed him selfies Liam and I took, or when I laughed too hard reading one of Liam's texts. Instead, he started pulling away. Trying to be less jealous, he said. More trusting. I let him. Because that made me the good girlfriend, the one who didn't control her boyfriend's emotions, right? The people around me were split. Some of my friends said Daniel was being insecure, threatened by a friendship that existed long before him. Others, especially my sister, weren't so sure. She once asked, "If Liam's just a friend, why do you light up more when you talk about him than your own boyfriend?" I brushed it off. Then came the night that should have told me everything. We were out celebrating Liam's new job. Drinks flowed. Music thumped. At some point, we ended up alone near the bar. Liam leaned in, his breath warm with tequila, and kissed my cheek. Then he said, "If I met you first, who knows what could have happened between us." I laughed it off. I told myself he was drunk, joking, harmless. I never told Daniel. That was the moment I crossed a line I couldn't see yet. Not because I kissed Liam back, I didn't. But because I started hiding things. Started filtering what Daniel got to know. All in the name of not starting drama. I told myself it wasn't betrayal. But deep down, I knew something had shifted. It happened on a Tuesday. Nothing dramatic. No shouting, no caught in the act scandal. Just a quiet night at my place, a pizza box between us, and Daniel scrolling through my phone while I was in the shower, something he never did. When I came out, towel in my hair, I saw it on his face. Stillness. Not anger, not rage, just stillness. Like something inside him had finally gone quiet. He held my phone out. "Is this what friendship looks like to you?" The screen was open to my messages with Liam. The texts were harmless, in my mind. Memes about emotional soulmates. Jokes like, "Why do we act like a married couple without the benefits?" Photos of us laying on the couch during movie nights, Liam's legs over mine. A caption, "Wifey position achieved." I laughed nervously. "Daniel, seriously. Those are just jokes. That's how Liam and I talk." He didn't raise his voice. Didn't accuse me of anything. He just stared at me and said quietly, "It's not about Liam. It's about how you don't protect what we have." That made me snap. Protect? I scoffed. "Daniel, you're being paranoid. He's my best friend. You don't trust me. You never have." His eyes darkened, but he stayed calm. "No," he said, "I stopped trusting us the day you started laughing harder at his texts than you did at my presence." That hit me in the gut. But I wasn't done. "You're being controlling. This is why people say jealousy ruins relationships. You want to isolate me from my friends. That's not love, Daniel. That's insecurity." I thought I was defending my independence. Thought I was being strong, untouchable, righteous. Instead, I watched the man who loved me break without making a sound. He stood up, picked up his jacket, and didn't slam the door. He didn't even say goodbye. Just one last glance, with eyes so hollow they looked like someone else's, and then he left. I expected him to call the next day. Then the next week. I figured he'd show up at my door, like always, ready to talk it through. But he didn't. He disappeared with the same grace he loved me with. Quietly. Fully. Like someone who had nothing left to fight for. I thought he'd come back. I never imagined I'd already seen him for the last time. At first, I told myself I was fine. I posted cute selfies, went out with friends, and laughed too loud at Liam's jokes like nothing had changed. I told everyone Daniel had issues with trust and needed space, and that he'd probably come around once he cooled off. Liam started coming over more. We binge-watched shows, ordered takeout, even fell asleep on the couch a few times, fully clothed, platonic. At least, that's what I kept telling myself. But something was different. He was less available. Less playful. His texts became shorter. He stopped tagging me in posts. And then, one afternoon, I opened Instagram and saw it, Liam with a girl I'd never seen before. His caption, "She feels like peace." I stared at the photo for minutes. No witty comments. No jokes about being his emotional wife. Just him, looking happy. I texted him something casual. He replied a day later. "I think it's time we created some space. You know, just so things don't get messy." Messy. Now. After everything. That's when it hit me, Liam never chose me. I was his favorite distraction. His comfort blanket. His joke when the room got quiet. But never the one he truly showed up for. And now I had no one. My friend group shifted. The ones who used to hype me up started drifting. I could feel it, when they didn't invite me to brunch, when they stopped tagging me in memories. One of them told me, quietly, I loved you both, but you didn't fight for him. You defended Liam more than you ever defended Daniel. I tried reaching out. I called Daniel. Texted. Emailed. Nothing. Eventually, I searched for him online. His socials. Gone. Scrubbed clean. Through a mutual friend, I found out he'd moved. New city, new job, new life. A clean slate. Then came the final blow. One night, I got a message from his old roommate. A simple line, he really did love you, you know. He just got tired of feeling like the third wheel in his own relationship. I dropped my phone. That was the line that broke me. Not because it was cruel, but because it was true. And I had no way to take it back. It had been almost a year. A full cycle of seasons, birthdays, holidays, without Daniel. I'd stopped trying to reach out by then. I told myself I was healing. Moving on. Until I saw him. It was a Saturday afternoon. I was at this local bookstore cafe downtown, flipping through a poetry book I pretended to care about, when I heard his laugh. That low, unmistakable laugh I used to love waking up to. I turned. And there he was, Daniel. But he wasn't alone. She was beautiful. Not in an intimidating way, but in a safe way. She tucked her arm around his like she belonged there. She smiled when he spoke. Listened without interrupting. And when they walked past my table, she gently fixed the tag on the back of his shirt, without even thinking. He saw me. Our eyes met. His smile flickered, polite, distant, final. Not angry. Not curious. Just, done. And that's what hurt the most. Later that night, I spiraled a little. Ended up doom scrolling through Liam's Instagram. That's when I saw it. A picture of him, beaming, down on one knee. The caption, she made me want to be better. His fiancée. Emma. A girl I used to low-key roll my eyes at in our group chats. She once told me, flat out, that I was using Liam like an emotional crutch. That I was stringing him along while calling it friendship. I had laughed at her back then. Now, she was the one wearing his ring. And that's when it hit me, like a freight train I never saw coming, I wasn't the victim. I wasn't controlled. I wasn't gaslit, manipulated, or emotionally abused. I was just careless. Reckless with love. Entitled with trust. I was so obsessed with not being that girlfriend, the clingy one, the jealous one, the one who set boundaries, that I failed to realize how emotionally unsafe I had become for the man who gave me everything. Daniel didn't leave because he didn't trust me. He left because I didn't give him a reason to. Liam didn't abandon me. He was never mine to begin with. He just entertained the blurred lines I kept drawing in chalk. And now I live with that. No grand apology. No second chance. Just the memory of two men who moved on with women who knew how to protect love better than I did. I'm single now. Not in the empowered, self-discovery kind of way people post about with beach selfies and captions like choosing me. More like, quietly single. Unfollowed. Forgotten. Watching people I once loved build lives I no longer belong in. I started therapy 6 months ago. At first, I told my therapist everything I thought made me look good, How I tried to be the cool girlfriend, how I avoided drama, how I never technically cheated. She didn't challenge me. She just asked one question: why do you think you needed so badly to be seen as easygoing, even at the cost of your partner's emotional safety? I didn't have an answer. But I cried all the same. I don't do guy best friends the same way anymore. Not because men and women can't be friends, but because I finally understand boundaries. What intimacy means. What it looks like when you start giving away pieces of your emotional loyalty to someone outside your relationship, and justifying it with, "We've always been close." I used to think Daniel was weak for feeling threatened. Now I realize he was just human, asking for what he needed, and I made him feel ashamed for it. If I had just listened. If I had just validated his feelings instead of rolling my eyes and calling him jealous, maybe we'd still be together. Maybe I wouldn't feel this deep, quiet ache every time I hear a laugh that sounds like his in a crowd. And Liam. He was never the villain either. He was who he always was. I was the one who used him as an emotional safety net while pretending it was harmless. I see it now. That moment when someone makes you feel like the villain in your own love story, it's not always because they're being dramatic. Sometimes it's because you actually are, and no one tells you what to do with that realization. When the damage is done, the people are gone, and the only person left is you, with your patterns, your pride, and your pain. So now, whenever I hear someone say, "It's not cheating, we're just close," I don't jump to defend them anymore. Instead, I ask, "What's your definition of cheating?" Because I found mine. Too late.